Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest, a remarkable individual, the Peace and Freedom candidate for the presidency of the United States, Mr. Eldridge Cleaver.
Good afternoon, my fellow human beings. I want to thank those who are responsible for inviting me down here. And I want to thank Mickey Mouse Regan and Donald Duck Rafferty for making it possible. Before I go any further, I want to get into this by saying what some people don't like to hear and what others seem to not mind. Fuck Ronald Reagan. Fuck Ronald Reagan. Here we have a grade B character actor who swindled his way into the governor's mansion by very quietly and very dutifully parroting the scripts put before him by some criminal writers out of Hollywood or Disneyland or somewhere funny like that. He wants everybody to know and to behave in the manner prescribed by our governor. Our governor, our Lord, our master, our leader and teacher, oink. Students at the University of California, along with some faculty members, invited me to participate in a series of lectures. And they asked me to deliver 10 lectures that I wouldn't have to change what I had been saying, perhaps structure it a little bit so that it could be molded into a package that could be brought off of the streets and into the quiet, peaceful halls of higher education. You would have thought that they had invited me down there to rape all the white girls and kill all the white men. Ronald Reagan says that it's a disgrace for a man with my background, a disreputable character like myself, to be invited onto a campus where I might corrupt the morals of the youth. I say that Ronald Reagan and all the pigs of the power structure have corrupted the very air that we breathe, and that what we're trying to do is save ourselves and perhaps save the world, rescue the world, rescue this funky, corrupt, polluted country from the death row on which it has been placed by old, decrepit, power-mad, avaricious, crazy, dizzy, loony, kooky, funky punks, faggots of the power structure, corrupt people who want to rule the world, who want to rule the people of this country, and who want to make us believe that they own the state of California, that they own the people in the state of California, having forgotten that they're nothing but public servants, that they owe their first duty to the public, and they have no right, none whatsoever, to impose their dim-witted will upon the people. And the people don't have to go for it. The people don't have to go for it. I'm not going to go for it. I say that Ronald Reagan is a punk, a sissy, and a coward. I challenge him to a duel to the death right now. And he can choose his own weapon. He could choose a baseball bat, a knife, a gun, or a marshmallow. And I'll beat him to death with a marshmallow because he's a punk. But he's a coward and he won't do that. He won't confront that. What he does, since he is the chief executive of the state of California, he turns to the machinery of oppression beneath him, namely to the Department of Corrections, to the parole officers, my parole officer in particular, and tells them, twist their arm, force them, and he really don't have to force those pigs, but he gets them to revoke my parole. And just as he twisted the arms of those weak-kneed, simple-minded regents, just as he twisted their arms, he twists the arms of the courts, any other agency under his control, to get rid of Eldridge Cleaver and to send him back to the penitentiary. Well, I'm not going. Fuck him in his ass. Fuck him. I'm not going. I went to the penitentiary to investigate it for you. You might call it a field trip, an extended safari, and I didn't like it. During the time that I was behind those walls, I had the pleasure of visiting every part of the prison, from the hospitals to solitary confinement, and I don't like any of it, not even the medicine. So let him go to the penitentiary. Let him take his mama to the penitentiary. But I want to stay out here where the people are and let the penitentiary be for the pigs, because that's who belongs in it. I have been rehabilitated. I am not going to bother no more citizens. All of my hostility, all of the hatred that I have in my heart, all of the bitterness that I have in my heart, and I have it, is for the pigs of the power structure, the machinery of oppression, and a fucked up system that has fucked up our lives and fucked up the world, and that we have to deal with for ourselves and for posterity, whether they like it or not. Whether they like it or not. And it's necessary for us to realize that we have three categories of pigs to deal with. First, foremost, deepest into the pit of evil, we have the avaricious, greedy businessmen. Those who own the planet Earth, those who own the resources in the planet Earth, those who own us. Second category, we have the hypocritical, demagogic politicians. In the third category, we have the ignorant, racist, pig cops, your local police, Gestapo, occupying army, the strong armed force of the power structure. Those are our enemies, broadly outlined. They have detailed categories that we can get into, but those are our enemies. Those are the forces that have to be dealt with, and we have to start by letting them know that we know that every one of them came out of their mother's pussy naked and with nothing, crying into this world like everybody else. They didn't come here with any blue chip stock. They didn't come here with any blue chip stock pinned to their asses. They didn't come here with any deeds of trust giving them eternal and perpetual ownership of the earth. No. They came here like I came here. They came here like you came here. And they're going to leave the way we're going to leave, in various ways, depending on how the shit breaks. Because we happen to understand that there are more people in this country than there are pigs, and we know that. And we don't have to be afraid of the pigs, because all they can do is kill us. All they can do is lock us up in their jails. But they can't go on killing us, and they can't keep us in their jails if the people of this country would stand up and tell them, no more, motherfucker, no more. We're not going to have it no more. The McCarthyites, Kennedyites and those equivocal to the right, those not really off into that right-wing bag, I think they got the message in Chicago when racist pig Daley, Mayor Daley, the butcherer, murderer, released his pigs upon the people who had come there to express their political positions, helping to ensure that Meathead Humphrey would still maintain his pig-like grasp on the reins of power in the Democratic Party. Let him have the Democratic Party. Let us take the Democratic Party and the Republican Party and all of the pigs ensnared within that party, both of those parties, and let us dump them into the garbage can of history where they belong, and let's bury it where we bury the dead. Because if you want to talk about tomorrow, if you want to talk about the future, if you want to talk about the 21st century, in fact, if you want to talk about finishing out the 20th century, then you're going to have to start talking about corralling these international gangsters who are putting the world into a position where there's going to be universal death, not just for the niggers. I know a lot of white people think that. They play that numbers game. They tell us, well, you're only 10%, 12%, 13%, 14% of the population. And whites are in the majority. They got all the guns and all the tanks, all the airplanes and all the bombs. That's only a question of geographical interpretation. Because when you look at the world is no longer a far-flung planet. The earth, it's a neighborhood. It's a neighborhood. Communication and transportation are uptight, and everything is right around the corner, including the specter of genocide, which black people have their eyes on. But we see what the racists in this country are cooking up for us. We don't need a crystal ball to tell us what's in store for us when we see General Hersey, the man who sends greetings to the young black brothers in the ghetto, telling them, come on, boy, and go over there in Vietnam and kill some of those yellow niggers for me. We don't need a crystal ball to read that when we see that same man come out and endorse a featherweight, feather-brained, pint-sized punk, racist dog like George Wallace of Alabama. We know what's behind that. And if we needed any other proof, all we had to do was check the news out and see that General Curtis LeMay, the god of the Strategic Air Command, has been selected by this pint-sized idiot to be his running mate. Running mate to where? Where in the fuck does he think he's going? Yeah, he's running and he better keep running. And those other pigs, oink Nixon, oink Humphrey, oink all of them had better start running, because there's a storm brewing in the soul of America, and the people are going to rise up and say, up against the wall, motherfucker, because you've done wrong. And we're not going to ask them, we're not going to ask the Board of Regents if they would pass a resolution instructing themselves to get up against the wall. The oppressor has no rights, which the oppressed are bound to respect, and don't forget it. They ain't got nothing coming. They don't have nothing coming. And we want to make a distinction, because we can't go around speaking categorically when you start talking about ethnic groups, races, and people and things. Because some of your allies might be turned against you. So we want to make it very clear for all of the inhabitants of Disneyland, Los Angeles, Chief Redding's Pig Pen, Snorty Yorty's pig pen. We want to make it clear that we recognize that the Black Panther Party, black people alone, cannot deal with this. That it's going to take an awakening generation, a revolutionary generation of white people, young white people who are brave enough and willing to face the challenges of the future, the challenges of the present, to get out of all of these bags that we've been in, to look beyond the ethnocentrism, the xenophobia that we've all been indoctrinated with, to recognize that the world is a neighborhood, a community, and then move to eradicate every obstacle in our way to make it that way so we can have some peace on this earth. The basic principle that we operate on is that every man, woman, and child on the face of the planet Earth has an absolute right to the very highest, the best standard of living that human knowledge and technology is capable of providing, period. Period. Every man, woman, and child. I don't care what color he is or what country he's in, that he is born into this world and therefore he has a right to live. And it's the responsibility of the organized machinery of society to do everything that it can, everything that it can conceivably do to ensure and to guarantee that everybody gets their issue with no bullshit about it. And we're going to have it that way because that's the only way it's going to be. Because the revolutionary people of the world today are saying that we're going to be part of the democratic destruction of the world, or we're going to be part of the democratic regeneration of this burnout planet. It ain't going to be no two ways about it. It's going to be us, or it ain't going to be nobody. It's going to be us together, or it's going to be chaos and Babylon all over the planet Earth. And we've got to understand that this is the last go-round. Everybody is face-to-face with the enemy, toe-to-toe. So we've got to learn to make distinctions, somehow manifest where we are so that we can know who is the enemy and who's not the enemy. And we can start right now by joining in with the song that I've written entitled Fuck Ronald Reagan. And we'll go 3 times in succession, a brief pause, and 3 more times, and that might be sufficient, maybe an encore if it's necessary. But I want to see if you can relate. I want to see if the people in this auditorium are the people referred to in Newsweek when they talk about George Wallace climbing up the pole. George Wallace is sliding down into the hole. He ain't going nowhere. George Wallace, his image has been inflated by Richard Nixon and his money in order to pose an image of something more to the right than himself. He's in the middle. He's a middle of the roader now. Dig it? He has George Wallace on his right and Humpty Dumpty on his left. So we have bone-nosed Nixon for president. So can we sing that song? Fuck Ronald Reagan. Oh, y'all can't sing. Wait a minute. I'm not no choir leader myself, but let's get it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fuck Ronald Reagan. Fuck Ronald Reagan. Fuck Ronald Reagan. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fuck Ronald Reagan. Fuck Ronald Reagan. Fuck Ronald Reagan. Hold it. Look here. Now, you know, we don't want to say that. Wait a minute. Shh. We don't want to say that too loudly because, you know, he's the governor and he might hear us. You dig it? will deal with that. He'll fuck himself, okay? But it's very important, very important that we recognize what's going on in this country today. The businessmen, the owners of the resources of the planet Earth see a challenge to their continued rule and exploitation of the people because they see empty-handed beggars at their door. Beggars with an empty hand, a gun in the other hand, saying, we want ours. So that they have made up this coalition with these demagogues and with these local police. And it's very important to understand what's been going on in Chicago, to understand how off-duty policemen will go up to a courthouse and jump on members of the Black Panther Party, to understand why drunken members of the Oakland Police Department will drive by the Black Panther Party office at night, bang, 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 into a shooting gallery. To understand why you pick up a newspaper today and from the front page to the sport page, you have a grisly record of an increasing number of crimes against the people perpetrated by the guardians of the law. To understand that we've got to talk about the caste consciousness that's developing, becoming rampant within the police departments of this country. We've got to understand that they represent domestically what the armed forces represent internationally, and that they are braced up by some of these noble principles like defending the borders of civilization against barbaric hordes, wiping out stinky hippies and yippies and niggers, defending civilization, honor, self-sacrificing, guardian angels descended from the first pig in history, Saint Michael the Archangel, who was sent down to the people by the power structure of that time and evicted from that land, evicted from the Garden of Eden, and put out there to earn their living by the sweat of their brow, just because they had exercised their free will and got into something that they wanted to get into, that they were equipped to get into in the first place. So that this pig came down with his flaming sword as these modern day pigs come down and evicted the people from the Garden of Eden. Dig it? So that we have this consciousness developing, already developed. It is a fact that the police departments are the best organized groups in this country. They have international machinery, they have discipline, they're well financed, they have a program, and they have political spokesmen. You've heard of the International Association of Chiefs of Police. They have their lobby, and they want to remold society into their own image. And so we can't just talk about the military-industrial complex. We've got to talk about the police military-industrial complex. We've got to talk about a well-organized, not a paramilitary organization, but a strictly military organization, Trojan horse right here in Babylon, that is moving to consolidate its power, fascist vanguard, with their spokesman, with their choice of spokesmen, running from babbling right to babbling left of right. George Wallace speaks for the pigs, and the pigs approve of him. Richard Nixon speaks for the pigs, and they approve of him. Hubert Horatio Humphrey speaks for the pigs, and they approve of him. And the police say right on to all of them, drawing the line with McCarthy and Kennedy and those who are speaking out, even no matter how mildly, for the rights of the people and for an end to their butchery, their wars, and for a new day for the people. And if we can't dig that, if we can't relate to that, then we're not going to make it. It's very doubtful if we're going to make it anyway, because we are behind, they are way ahead, and we're going to have to run ourselves to death. We're going to have to get all the fear out of our hearts for them and say later for them, and let's talk to each other, and let's organize, and let's get the power that we need. We need all power to the people. We need black power for black people. We need red power for red people. We need brown power for brown people. And we need yellow power for yellow people. And we need white power for white people. Now you can get uptight and say white power, but what you're reacting to is not white power, you're reacting to pig power. Because it's very important. See, it's very important. Because if you had white power, you wouldn't have the pigs on the Board of Regents, the pigs of the power structure, inflicting their pig power upon you. You need white power to deal with that pig power. And that has to be understood. That has to be understood. We say that every people, every ethnic group, every people has an absolute right to be in control of its own destiny, not to be manipulated by another group, not to be controlled and exploited by another group. And I mean, every group has that right, and I don't care what color it is. And we have to draw the line there and defend that, and then remove the contradictions between us and that. Now, how are we going to deal with these regal regions? We say that the students invited us to deliver 10 lectures. The pigs say that we can only deliver 1 lecture. So we're going to move to deliver 20. We're going to move to deliver 20. And we're not going to submit. We're not going to accept what they want us to do because it's non-functional for the task of our time. I hear that the fire department down here in Disneyland wants more firepower. And I hear that the chief of police has beefed up his patrols, increasing his patrols in order to more firmly oppress the people. Well, the Black Panther Party started out with patrols of the black community, and we want to serve notice now that we feel that the time is here, that we're going to have to go back to our patrols because the pigs are advancing on the people, and the people just have to reclaim the streets for the people and from the pigs. And we say also that it is time for the white people in this country to reclaim their streets from this occupying army because it occupies the white community after a fashion just as it occupies every other community. And if you don't believe that, go outside and say, I want to vote for Eugene McCarthy. Go out there and do that. The police department belongs to the ruling class in this country. And you may think that you're all members of the ruling class. When the rule was perpetuated in the name of white supremacy, yeah, you could identify with that and say, yeah, well, I'm part of that. But white supremacy is not going to make it. That's over with because the people of the world don't want to hear it. And we have to understand that it is possible. It is possible for white people not to be racist, just as we know it's possible for everybody else not to be racist. It's possible for the Germans not to be racist. It's possible for everybody in the world to live together on the same planet Earth without being at each other's throat. And if we don't believe that, we just give it up. I say that it's possible for the Arabs to get along with the Jews. It's got to be possible. It's got to be possible. It's possible for the students in Mexico to get along with the administrators of that society. It's possible, yes, it's possible if you get the right administrators in there. It's possible for the students of the University of California, all over California, to get along with the properly constituted Board of Regents. It's possible. It's possible for me to get along with Ronald Reagan if he doesn't try to tell me what to do, what to say, and if he doesn't try to force me to watch any of his movies. We have got to have that type of faith that it is possible for us to solve these contradictions, to get rid of these contradictions, because if we don't believe that, we might as well forget it. We might as well all just freak out on acid, get drunk, and stumble along and let the pigs have it. We might as well do that if we don't have that faith. But there is a process of implementing that and bringing that about. We have to recognize the existence, the very important existence of the cultural revolution in the black community, the cultural revolution in the white community, which represents a decisive break with the past. It's not just another one of those cool-out perks that we've been put throughout our history in this country, where the white man has moved to cool us out on another level. It represents a realization by a generation of white people, and I'm talking to white people. I'm telling you, if you're still too crazy to dig it where you are, I'm telling you that I can see where you're at, and I can appreciate where you're at, and I can relate to where you're at, because it's clear to me that you have made a break with the bloody heritage, the racist heritage of this country. We have definitely, black people have definitely made a break with it, and ain't gonna have it no more. So harnessing the forces of the two revolutions in the two communities, we can put together a force that is powerful enough to change the course of the history of this country, because we don't like where it's going, do we? Do we like where it's going? I don't dig what the handwriting on the wall says. It's Greek, it ain't talking to me. Pig that's writing it, he's talking to himself, because we're not listening no more. We are dancing to the tune of a different drummer. He could do the jig, he can dance the jig. Hey, Bunchy, what's happening? He can dance a jig to the Star Spangled Banner if he wants to. But we're going to have to dance to a tune that does not insult anybody who has his humanity intact. We're going to have to dance to a tune that embraces all of us and learn how to defend each other, how to rescue each other from the snares of the pigs, and how ultimately to abolish the very existence of these pigs, of the power structure. At the bottom, and goodbye all of you who leave, because there are a whole lot of people here, and I know you have someplace to go, and I'm sorry about all that. But there are enough people in this country to deal with this situation. Private property, the foundation of this economic system, this capitalistic economic system, has got to be abolished, that we have got to get into. We have got to get into a frame of mind where we recognize that Karl Marx had a whole lot to say about how a society should be organized. We have got to get into that. We don't have to be ashamed of Karl Marx. We should feel the same way about Karl Marx as we were taught to feel about Jesus, because he carried what Jesus was talking about to a higher and a more practical level. That's what he did. That's what he did, and you can hate the truth if you want to, but those who relate to the truth can hold fast to that and get together, organize, and we could deal with those who want to kick their heads in the sky or in a hole like an ostrich or like a Donald Duck or a Mickey Mouse. It don't matter. It don't matter, because there are enough people to deal with it. Internationally, We have got to unite with the revolutionary people of the world, and we have got to be able to say that we love you, Mao Zedong, that we love you, Ho Chi Minh, that we love you, Fidel Castro. We got to say that. We've got to be able to say that, because if we don't, we're still playing the game, perpetuating the myth that this country has developed in order to justify its manifest destiny to be the imperialist, warmongering, controller and ruler of the planet Earth, exploiter and butcherer of the people. We've got to be able to relate to the dynamics of the system. Do we want to get out of Vietnam? Do we want to bring the boys home? Do we want to bring the boys home? But we don't want to bring them home and put them on the police forces so they could do to us what they've been doing to the Vietnamese people, do we? So what we've got to do is deal with this system in such a way that our boys over there will recognize that their duty is here, because they've got to come back here and save their mamas and their papas and their babies and their loved ones and their fellow men. Just as those boys found it necessary to break out of the stockade yesterday because they didn't want to go over there and murder human beings. Because they don't want to murder human beings, they're put in the stockade. And we have got to let them know that we recognize what they're doing and that we welcome them back home, because we need a people's militia right here to defend us against these aggressors. And don't think that those people over there in Vietnam are all idiots. Don't think that they're all stupid. Don't think that they're all blind and can't see what's going on. They just got to get into that, and they will come back. They will shoot their way back. They will come back. We here, confronted with this situation, then insulted by public servants who have become so arrogant. You know the attitude that's rampant throughout the civil service, throughout that whole apparatus. When you walk in for some service, they insult you. How many of you feel good when you walk up to a cop and ask him for some lost directions? People are even afraid to approach a cop to ask him to do his duty, because they know that he will shoot mace in your face when ordered to. He will hit you upside of your head with a club when ordered to. Whether he wants to or not, whether he was thinking about that or not, doing his duty like every Adolf Eichmann in history has done it, and said that he's only doing his job. War crimes. Those are war crimes. Those are crimes against the people. Those are human rights crimes, and we've got to be writing them down in the book, because they have to be prosecuted and brought to justice by the people for the crimes that they have committed. Why can't they? Why can't Lyndon Baines Johnson go to the penitentiary for committing mass murder? Or why can't he be hung by his neck like they hung Tojo? Why can't they hang him by his neck? If they can go over there to Nuremberg and hang the Nazis and lock the Nazis up for 1,000 years, why can't these racist dogs be locked up forever? Why can't they? Who are they? Who are they? Who are they to put the victim on trial? Who are they to get Huey P. Newton at night in Oakland in the middle of the black community and try to kill him and then put him on trial for murder? Who are they? Who are these insane motherfuckers who shot me and then charged me with attempted murder on a goddamn pig? Who are these fools? Who are they who shot my brother Bobby Hutton down beside me in cold blood and tell a lie and said that he tried to run when he was blind from tear gas, and when they had stomped us both for 5 minutes and they say he tried to run and they blew him away? Who are these motherfuckers who think they're going to get away with some shit like that? Who are they? They are not going to get away with it. They are not going to get away with that. And if we say that they're not going to get away with that, how can these fools on the border region think they're going to get away with this little Mickey Mouse shit? we're not beginning to relate to that. We're not going to relate to that. That's a nuisance. Even the very conservative academic senate couldn't relate to that. All those old professors who equivocate for days, they couldn't even relate to that. They recognize that this is an election year and that Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck have political goals in November at the ballot box. They know that Max Rafferty, with his PhD in physical education, has based his political career on screaming like a fool about the mention of communism in the footnotes of some textbook. That's a simple motherfucker. That's going to be your next senator. You got a song and dance band, and now you're going to get a volleyball coach or something. to preside over your life. There's a saying that the people get the rulers that they deserve, but I be goddamn if we deserve what we get. No. I don't care. Look here. I'm fully aware that even this racist government found it necessary to steal some of Stokely Carmichael's speeches and sign their name to it and put it out as a Kearney report and confess to what was already well known, that this is a racist country and that white racists have been responsible for what's going on. Even they could relate to that. How can we not? We say right on, okay, it's a white racist country, it's a white racist power structure, and we're going to dismantle it, take it apart piece by piece, which is our right, and we could just quote the Declaration of Independence to them, remind them that it's been universally acknowledged that whenever the machinery that's been set up by the people to administer the affairs of society become non-functional, the people have the right to rearrange it as they see fit, and they don't have to consult their former employees. They don't have to consult ex-governors. You don't have to ask an ex-governor if you can have medical care not only for the aged, but for everybody. Who can say that old people, elderly people who have spent their life in the system are not entitled to medical attention? They are entitled to the very best medical attention that science is capable of providing them. They're entitled to that. Certainly the children, everybody. They can afford it because they got money, you dig it? They can go out there and lay up the Cedars of Lebanon Hospital and get another heart. They can get another heart. And there was a girl in San Diego who was afflicted with a respiratory disease, and she needed an iron lung. And the iron lung cost $2,000 or $3,000, and she didn't have it. And some man in Chicago who had one, an iron lung for his wife who died, had to come forward and give it to this young girl so that she could live. And this fool, Ronald Reagan, was somewhere playing golf or trying to remember a script or somewhere fucking with the University of California. How can we live? What are we going to do for the next 4 years? We're in trouble for 4 more years unless we declare in our hearts that the government has been usurped by the pigs. We have government of the pigs, for the pigs, and by the pigs. It's irrelevant, and we have got to move to create our forces that will bring it back where it's supposed to be, where it never has been before in the history of this country. In the history of this country, we have got to close the book on all of American history up to this point, because it has all been foul, corrupt, inhumane, and written in the blood of the people. So we have got to close that book, close it all the way, move in the Cultural Revolution, and write a new book, a new history that we can all teach to all of our children, where we don't have to have one book for this ethnic group, one book for this ethnic group. We need one book for the world, and we have got to write it. a generation of people who are willing to face the future, willing to confront the future, and with nothing but enthusiasm that they can deal with all of the problems that the future holds for them, including this present problem of transitioning from what we have now to what we want to get into. We've got to do that, and we want to let the Chief of Police of Los Angeles County, the Sheriff of Los Angeles County, the Mayor of Los Angeles, we want to let all the mayors, all the chiefs of police, all of the sheriffs, everywhere, all over this country, joining in with all the people of the world saying, you have got to stop right now, or the people are going to wage a people's war against you. A people's war against you. Now, this is probably premature. This is why they want to violate my parole, take me back, because I'm talking about dealing with these pigs on that level. Not just the pigs out there on the streets with the guns, but all of the pigs of the power structure to put them back in their place. Now, you're not hypnotized, are you? You're not on the street. You're not going to run out there. You might not dig anything I say. But you have a mind of your own. You refuse to be programmed by anybody. I do. I'm not going to let nobody program me. I'm not going to let nobody program me. Don't let anybody program you. You move and you unite with those who share a point of view with you after you've made up your own mind. Just because the regions say oink, you don't have to say oink. You don't have to. I want to quote to you something that Elijah Muhammad wrote, and which I found very helpful to me. He said, the devil will say, Satan will say, when the matter is decided, that I had no power over you. I called you and you came. You have free will. You do have free will because you can think. They wouldn't let you in the University of UCLA, University of Southern California, whatever this motherfucker is, if you couldn't think. Aren't you all thinking people? Whether they let you in here or not, you can think. High school dropouts can think. They may not be able to write dissertations or scripts for Ronald Reagan, but they can think, and they can see through bullshit, and they know where to go, they know how to move. If the downtrodden people, the rickshaw boys, the coolies, the peasants in China have enough sense to get behind Mao Zedong and say, right on, lead me on. If the people of Cuba, downtrodden, you know how they used to talk about them, simple, ignorant peasants in Cuba, crazy, siesta sleeping, you did? If they had enough sense to get behind Brother Fidel and run Batista away, then why is it that the Babylonians here in racist, decadent Babylon, why come they can't think? Is all thoughts gone? Is all thoughts gone out of Babylon? Is the ability to move when it's necessary going out of Babylon? Start with Marco Polo and check this shit on down to today. Marco Polo did not drive into China in a Cadillac. He got into China damn near dead, and the Chinese laid him out on a piece of silk and nursed him back to health. Just as the Pilgrims didn't drive up on Plymouth Rock on the Queen Mary or on the President's line. They went there uptight, and the Indians taught them corn, taught them turkey, taught them how to survive, and they taught the Indians how to die, how to become extinct, and they taught niggers how to be transported from Africa in boats against their will and turned into slaves, turned into Negroes, and to go through all those changes for all those years. They have taught us that, and they have taught themselves in the process to become racist. And just as all of that has been taught, it can be untaught, and we can go back to that day and move again. Now I want to say something that I think is very important. I want to say this to the ladies, later for all you ugly men. I don't like no men. I stayed in the penitentiary 8, 9 years, and I saw enough of you motherfuckers, you dig? The only reason that I tolerate even looking at you because it takes a combination of a man and a woman to produce another woman. But I have a bias against you. And I dig women. I dig them. Because I recognize that the fourth world revolution, the women's revolution, is coming into its own, and I am the self-appointed spokesman for pussy power. I say that political power grows out of the lips of a pussy. Now, no woman could come down here and say that and get away with it. You dig it? They got something that would do it, but I think that they would be put uptight by the Victorians in the society, and they can't put me uptight because I know that they're uptight. But it is necessary to realize this, that you're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem. There's no more middle ground. There's no more middle ground. If I'm over here and a pig has his billy club whooping my head, and you're standing over there undecided as to who you're going to help, me or the pig, you part of the problem. So that I'm saying that everything can be progressive, everything can be revolutionary, love can be progressive, love can be revolutionary, sex can be progressive, sex can be revolutionary, and it can be reactionary. And if you're a revolutionary lady, or even a progressive lady, how can you justify laying up with part of the problem? You're giving aid and comfort to the enemy. You have a duty. You have a duty to use the ultimate weapon against them. You cut off their sugar. You tell them, look, man, you're around here talking all that shit, but look at these pigs around here. Deal with that situation. Deal with that. Go out there and join the forces that are trying to deal with the situation, and then come back to me. But until you do that, don't call me on the telephone. Don't write me none of them simple letters, and don't come knocking on my door. I don't want to hear it. Tell them that, and you will find that there are enough revolutionary people here, revolutionary men, not just males, that I'm sure that they will arrange to hang their names on some bulletin board and their phone numbers so that if the ladies get uptight and need a little help, they will come running. I'm quite sure of that. And there's nothing I've seen about that. There's nothing I've seen about saying a motherfucker, because every father is a motherfucker, see? Every mother is a fatherfucker, or something is wrong. So, I mean, we all know what we got. We've all studied biology. We know what's up under these rags, and I know what's up under them rags. Ain't no more secrets like that. And it's kind of poetic to say motherfucker instead of saying mother intercourser. That would be kind of... But see, there's a legitimate historical genesis of the use of the term motherfucker by a lot of niggas, right? Just like there's a history to that word, there's a history to every word. Because the matriarchal society, the structure of the family that was forced upon black people during slavery, when the father was put uptight and moved wherever they wanted to move him, and the mother became the central figure in the family, the one who was venerated and looked up to, respected uppermost by the children, she became the symbol of the highest standard that you judge anything by, and the worst thing that a cat could do to perform as some of the pigs of the power structure are said to do, and commit incest with his own mother. He was considered to be like a cat who was on down, right? So he was a motherfucker and he was wrong. And there's nothing wrong with that. If it grates your ears, there's something wrong with your ear. There's nothing wrong with history. History is just there. You don't have to endorse it, but you better recognize it. And it's up against the wall, motherfucker, for the pigs. We need all power to the people. We need student power. We need faculty power. And we need some guest lecture power. need all of that. And I want you to know this. Whether they shoot us down right now, this minute, boom, blown away, whether they get fortunate enough to drag us off to prison, no matter what they do to us, that it is extremely important that we realize now before it is too late, while we do have time, that it is necessary to make the ultimate sacrifice if necessary to defend principles, to take a firm stand for a new day for humanity, and not to retreat from that, because history is running in that tide, history is with you, and that there is no force that can be brought to bear that can stop history and that tide from prevailing. That if you die doing something worthwhile, instead of just dying and getting run over, instead of just getting shot out trying to rob a liquor store, instead of taking an overdose of dope, instead of getting shot over there in Vietnam fucking with those people over there, because they wiping ass, you dig it? You can do that, you die and you live, and you fight in order to live, in order to rescue the world by changing the course of the history of this country. And we can start right now by keeping Eldridge Cleaver out of the penitentiary. You understand? I'm not a member of the faculty. I didn't go down there and request a job. I was out there in the community functioning with the Black Panther Party, a coalition with the Peace and Freedom Party, trying to work with those that we were talking to. I didn't answer no one ad in the San Francisco Chronicle, the Oakland Tribune for that. Students approached me with that. They looked out and they saw something going on out there, and they had enough guts to approach that and talk to that, and to be willing to do as students will do, to bring it into the classroom and look it over, talk about it, talk to it, to see if it had any value to them. And if they wanted to relate to that, they were very nice about it. They didn't insult me. So I did that. And here comes the fool. Oink, oink, oink to the polls. Gonna create all this furor. So we say, thank you, Mickey Mouse. Thank you, Donald Duck. Thank you, Big Mama Unruh. Thank all of you pigs, because you are the best organizers that we have. You are the best organizers that we have. Pigs in Chicago did a wonderful job for the movement, and Mickey Mouse here, and they're going to do a better job because they are mad right now because of what we're saying. They don't dig this at all. I know that my parole officer is either here or he has his Southern California counterpart here, and for him and for the one left behind, for all of the wardens of all of the penitentiaries everywhere, all of the guards, all of you, kiss my black nigger ass. Fuck you. Because you didn't want to let me out in the first place. You didn't want to let me out of the penitentiary in the first place. We had to put you through changes to get me out. You wouldn't even let me send my book out to have it published or to let somebody read it to see if it was worthy of being published. I had to smuggle it out. I had to smuggle it past you, and you called it a racist interpretation of history through your librarian. A fool, a buffoon, sitting there presiding over the functioning of other people's brains. So I owe you nothing. I have paid my debts to society. Matter of fact, I think you burnt me. I think you shortchanged me, but right on, that's gone. I was 22 years old when I left the streets, and I'm 22 years old right now. Come back to where I left off, and I'm going to join with my young generation and move to speed up time, because there are other things that we would like to be doing. I would like to be laying up under a coconut tree with some bananas and some coconuts, digging the sunset with somebody. I don't want to be running around here fucking with these fools. I don't enjoy that at all. It's not a pleasure. So they're wasting our time. So let's speed up time so that we can reclaim our time and we can go back and do our thing. And finally, I'd just like to say this, that we may be absolutely wrong, that Mahatma Gandhi may be absolutely right, that Martin Luther King may have been absolutely right, that we may be making a big mistake. We do the best we can, but we might be wrong. You have to think about that. And it may be that when they lay us down, we will find ourselves before the throne of God with his beard and his hippie hair, and that he may cast us down into the hellfire. And we don't want to burn, do we? So what we would have to do, Huey P. Newton says that the spirit of the people is greater than the man's technology. And when they cast us down into those flames, let's look around for each other and organize the Black Panther Party again, organize a White Panther Party if you can't think of nothing better, and deal with the devil, because we're not going to have it. We're not going to have it. We're not going to have it. The spirit of the people is greater than the man's technology. The spirit of the people is greater than the man's technology. The spirit of the people is greater than the man's technology. The spirit of the people is greater than the man's technology. And if God in his wisdom makes a coalition with the devil against us, we just have to deal with him. So I know we can deal with these lowly, slowly pigs of the power structure. We can deal with them, my fellow Americans. My fellow Americans. My brothers and sisters. I don't care. I know that we're not uptight on the black side all the way. I know that some black people don't relate to that. But we have got to say that the situation is so dangerous, that it's grinding so madly down to the end, so swiftly, that we've got to be fundamental, and we don't have no time to bullshit. And we've got to say that we oppose racism in every guise, in every form, in every color. We don't want to hear it, because we are going ahead to the future, and we don't bring the crimes of the past into the future unless those who are descended from the criminals of the past persist in the behavior and in perpetuating the games of the criminal ancestors. If you can wipe that out, right here, we can move together. So let's move together. Let's keep our eyes on each other. You call me and I will come. And when I call you, please come. And I think I'm going to be calling you soon, because they want to lock me up and I don't want to go. And I thank you for your time. All power to the people. All power to the people. All power to the people. All power to the people.
We are going to have a question and answer period for about 10 more minutes. If you have a question...
No, wait a minute, no. Let's not do that. Let's not go through that. That's one of those time wasters, okay? I'm going to talk to the Black Students Union and power. I don't want to cut y'all back.